Men seek out these valuable things, sapphires and gold and silver, and mine for it, and put their lives at risk for it. And yet here's wisdom that has more value than all of that. And where do you find it? Where do you find it? It's so valuable, and man doesn't understand how valuable wisdom is. So he says, so where does wisdom come from? Where is the place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all the living and concealed from the birds of the air. Destruction and death say, well, we heard a report about it with our ears. God understands its way, and he knows its place. For he looks to the ends of the earth and sees under the whole heavens, to establish a weight for the wind and apportion the waters by measure. When he made a law for the rain and a path for the thunderbolt, then he saw wisdom and declared it. He prepared it, indeed, he searched it out. And to man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding. He says, where is the place of understanding and wisdom? Well, God knows. God knows all things. And as a matter of fact, he declared wisdom. In the book of Proverbs, it says that God, by wisdom, created the universe. Wisdom. And what is it? Wisdom. Master Yoda, what are the words of wisdom? Well, I sound more Indian than Yoda-ish, don't I? The fear of the Lord is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Is that it? That's all? I was waiting for something more dramatic, maybe a little longer, maybe a little bit more detail. This is it. This is all there is. This is all there needs to be. This is the ruby, the gold, the silver, the sapphire, found right in the heart of this book, kind of almost halfway through, and found sprinkled in veins throughout it. You want wisdom? You want to be wise? You want to apply wisdom to anything and everything you do? Here it is. Fear the Lord. Fear the Lord and run away from evil. It's that simple. It's that simple. Now, the application of that wisdom to specific situations in life, man, it gets a little complicated sometimes to figure out. But if you keep yourself always on that platform, fear of the Lord, that's wise. In this situation, as I look to the various options I have facing me, I want to stand in the place where I am in fear of the Lord and I am shunning evil. When you do that, you will find the wisdom of which way to go. When you do that in every situation of your life, you will find God's wisdom. What's God's will for me in this area? Well, let's think about it. First of all, where is the fear of the Lord, that awesome respect, that recognition, as much as is possible by us in this lifetime, of who God is, and dealing with Him on that level, and who we are, and dealing with Him on that level? That's the fear of the Lord. Okay. Got that. And running from evil. Okay. If I can find those characteristics in a choice, in an option, that's the way of the Lord. You say, Pastor, I'm looking at two options, and there's the fear of the Lord and shunning evil in both of them. Which one's right? Both of them. Which one does God want me to do? Has He told you? No. Well, then He doesn't care. Pick whichever one. You get to choose this one. See how that works? If God has a specific option for you in your life when you're facing a choice of righteous paths to take, and you don't hear from God, and you're seeking Him and listening for Him, then He's saying, you pick. You pick. Krista and I go out every Thursday night, and we usually go to dinner somewhere. It's our date night. Has been for not that night, but we've had a date night ever since we started dating 30 plus years ago. And we go out, and it's always a discussion about where we're going to go to eat. And I'm usually the one who says, I don't really care. Where do you want to go, honey? And sometimes I want to go. But sometimes I'll say that to her, and she really doesn't want to decide. And that's what she says. She says, you decide. You pick. You pick. And in that situation, that's what God is saying. Hey, they're both good. You pick. And I'll bless you in either one of them. God does that sometimes. Isn't that cool? Fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. Shunning evil, that is understanding. Fear of the Lord is, okay, wisdom, okay, I know who God is, I know who I am. Shunning evil is understanding that and making application. It's really that basic. And God, through this whole first half of this book, and through all that Job has experienced, that's what God is building in Job's life. You see, God is bringing Himself glory through what He is allowing to happen to Job, so that Job will stand just like he does and say, I'm not leaving God. I don't care what He does to me. I'm not leaving. I've got the guts to stay, even when it's tough, even when it hurts, beyond our comprehension of what hurting means. I'm staying. That's it. You can't make me leave. And God gets glory from that. And in the midst of that, He builds into Job an understanding of wisdom that he hasn't seen before. I'm pretty sure this is the first place, chronologically speaking, that this understanding of wisdom is brought out like this. You can find this statement many times in the book of Proverbs. You'll find it in some other places too. But they happened much later. God stripped all of this away from Job so that He could say, you know what? Here's wisdom. Fear the Lord. Fear the Lord and shun evil. Solomon was the wisest man on the earth, given a double portion of wisdom by God. And he spent his life seeking out wisdom and parables and understanding. And he published many of them. And people came from far away to hear what he had to say. And he wrote the book of Ecclesiastes late in his life. And it's a depressing book until you get to the last 2 verses. Because throughout the book he says, I chased after this and I found it's empty. Tried this, found it was empty. And then in chapter 12, verses 13 and 14, he says this. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole thing. Fear God and keep His commandments, for that is man's all. For all of his wisdom, God-given wisdom, and the wisdom that he sought out throughout all of the earth, finally Solomon came to the same place Job did. Okay? Here's the nugget. Here is the nugget. Fear God, keep His commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. That's what Solomon has to say.